Welcome back to Sports on Tap. We're live at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio. And the weather was getting a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for a nice, cold chocolate milkshake.
Or vanilla.
That's right. Or some soft serve ice cream.
Can't go wrong with that either.
Oh, man.
It's starting to warm up a little bit. I mean,
It's good to be
definitely
back.
want to. It is good to be back.
You know?
It's great to be back. And in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about our Ipso Facto brackets and March Madness.
Do we really have to?
Cavaliers brackets. Hey, let's
Cavaliers brackets?
Cavalier.
No, our Cavaliers. We'll talk a little Cavaliers. Yeah, we're not talking about our Cavs brackets, but well, we could talk about the brackets when we enter playoff time. No, do you know why I want to talk about the brackets right now? Because
You're in first place?
this might be the last time that I'll be in first place.
I'm not sure why you even bring it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because I'm in first place.
that's like saying I'm leading the first 50 laps of the Daytona 500, but I know I'm going to crap out. And
Well,
I'm gonna
I don't
lose.
know that I'm going to crap out. I mean, I could still potentially
Rob,
win this, said Daniel.
You have Michigan State winning the national championship.
Yeah,
Well,
I know I do.
Well, what's it look like for you, Duff? I mean, so Sean is the
Listen.
FNG does have the most,
Yeah.
probably the highest probability of
Right.
winning this. What needs to happen for you to not win? I'll just ask you that.
North Carolina has to lose,
Basically. I have only one Final Four team remaining.
and that's North Carolina.
So if they lose,
He's done.
then you're,
Yeah.
okay, well, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So who are they playing? Syracuse?
Yeah, the Orange Men have created some upsets lately.
See, here's the thing. I don't think you can say it's an upset when it's Syracuse. I'm sorry.
Syracuse had a down year this year.
It doesn't matter. They're Syracuse. They're a perennial ACC power. They played well against their league. Jim Boeheim missed the first 9 games, which in college basketball is like essentially missing the preseason. He didn't get to go to Maui for the Maui Invitational. I mean, this is Syracuse. I know they're a 10 seed, but I think we can all agree that the seedings of this tournament in general has just been, for lack of a better word,
Awful.
yeah, there's just, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
there's no dominant team. Everybody's ripe for an upset. You know, it was great seeing Middle Tennessee State.
No, it
whatever.
wasn't. It was awful.
You're telling me I had a Final Four team in it. But
Yeah,
what
me
I'm trying
too.
to say is, like, it's hard to predict this, and I just think everyone getting on, the underdog Syracuse. I don't feel bad for Syracuse.
They're
They've-
not an
No.
underdog. I
mean,
agree with you on that.
Any other year, this would be a chalk. This would be a chalk Final Four. I mean, Oklahoma had a good year. You know, Villanova is always in the running every year. UNC always there. Syracuse always there.
Wait
you
a
know,
minute.
deep
We may have some breaking news.
breaking news.
minute.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
He just wanted
Wow.
to use that.
I
That's
like
all
that.
he wanted to do.
I like that.
It's 4-day-old news, but he wanted to use that sound effect.
No, looking at the standings, because I have not done that in a while, possible points. You know who could finish in second place?
Oh, God.
No way.
This guy
Wow.
right here.
That's
Wow.
breaking news.
That's breaking news
That's
because
your
It's because he
breaking-
does have North Carolina as well.
and
Yeah.
Villanova and OU.
No,
No, you don't have no.
Oh,
way.
no, I'm sorry.
Those are the teams.
Those
that
are
have
actually
won.
the
Those are the actual teams that won, Josh.
yeah. So I just have
So
Carolina.
you are riding the coattails of one FNG over there.
Hold
Yes,
on,
you are.
hold on. Josh got excited for a
Wow.
split second.
All right.
How did
well,
I pick this?
Well,
He's
not-
like,
I mean,
wait,
he's
wait.
not-
I have OU.
he's
I
not
have.
wrong.
I have.
Well,
I
he's
have
not, no.
Syracuse. No, those are the correct
Who
teams.
the hell had Syracuse in their Final Four besides people from Syracuse?
I don't think anybody.
I don't think any. I mean, a lot of people didn't have Syracuse making the tournament.
Correct.
I mean, they were essentially they were a playing game, weren't they? Or no?
No, they weren't. But they, you know what?
They
this-
should have been.
You know what this does though, and this is what bothers me about this is that this just makes it that much easier for the committee to say, you know what? I'd rather take a moderate power conference team instead of taking a regular season mid-major who just happened to get upset in the conference tournament, who has 8 losses or anywhere between 5 to 8 losses. Obviously, Syracuse just happened to catch a really good break. Not a break. They caught fire at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
At the right time, and they're running roughshod through here. I think this doesn't help the mid majors out at all. Seeing this happen, and that's what bothers me about this too. Is whenever you see a mid major get this far, they don't get the credit for it. But when you see a team from a Power 5 make it this far when they're maybe not supposed to with their French team, that just solidifies the committee's position and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's nice to reward the mid-major teams for, having a good season. But at the end of the day, when's the last time mid-major made it into the Final Four? I mean, really.
Wichita State.
Wichita.
Okay, so
Wow.
there's Wichita
That really
State.
was up there. I don't know what's
But
going.
Then VCU, Butler twice. Butler made it to the
but you
national
really can't
championship
consider
twice.
Butler or even really Wichita State because they're now considered basketball schools. I mean, let's be honest. They're in the top 25 every year. They're recruiting well. Gonzaga was at one time considered a mid-major. Yes, some of those teams are there, but how often does a Middle Tennessee beat a Michigan State in a tournament? It doesn't happen. So, I mean, while I feel bad.
It seemed to happen to Duke a lot.
Well, that's just because Mike Krzyzewski can't keep his mouth shut in the shaking hands line. We're gonna get to that in a second. But what I'm saying is that every year it's usually. I mean, in the Elite Eight, yeah, there's a surprise here and there, but it's not like there's a mid-major team out there that could beat the eventual national champion. No one
Never
ever
know.
says that. But what I'm saying is the way the tournament's set up is everybody thinks that everyone has the same chance when they really don't. I mean, let's be honest. A 16 seed has never beaten a 1. A 15 seed has rarely beaten a 2. I mean,
except for this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
except for Middle Tennessee State, who killed Michigan State. The one year I ride Izzo all the way to the Final Four, and he kills me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just I understand where the mid-major argument comes from, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the most it affects is a bracket. I don't see it affecting the tournament negatively.
Okay, well, let me ask you. All right, well. See, the 16 seeds are out, and rightfully so, are set up to fail in this because
unless you're catching one in a bad day,
right? Or the 16 seeds are those mid majors that tore up in their conference tournament, and they just happen to upset the best team in the league.
Right.
I think one of the teams that was in the playing game was under 500 or something like that.
Yeah.
So those are the I'm not talking about those teams.
Okay.
Right? Because those aren't teams that. Those are from traditionally non-power conference, like the lower level of college basketball conferences. But you mean to tell me you wouldn't want to see Akron in the tournament?
And I was about to actually say that.
I know there's another team. I think they had like St. Bonaventure, for example. No, I think the Bonnies lost in the first round this year in the NIT, but I don't hold that against them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
I
depends.
would rather see them in the tournament instead of and I'm not going to. I obviously can't use Syracuse as an example this year because they've shoved that up my ass pretty efficiently. But I would rather see one of those teams in there instead of let's see, Oregon State. They don't do anything for me.
Right.
Who else?
But now
Michigan. Really?
Yeah, Michigan was not good this year at all.
Get out of here.
I couldn't. You know what? I would have rather taken an Akron team, and Mid-American Conference usually is only going to get one team. I mean, that's how it's always.
The last time they got two was when Wally World was there in 1999, and then Dan they didn't make it to the Sweet 16. Right. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
but I mean, I guess
I think we're talking about two different classes of mid-majors between you and I.
But I can't sit there and say that Michigan is less deserving because they got beat by teams in the Big Ten. I mean, a lot of the teams that beat them.
I think they even lost to a MAC team this year. I thought
they did. They lost to. I think they actually did lose to either Akron or Kent State.
Well, I think you're right on. I'll give you that, Duff.
The competition is so much different in the Big Ten or the ACC, or that's what I'm saying. Like the Pac-12 this year was one of the highest rated conferences coming into the tournament. So Oregon State having what you classified as a mediocre season in a top tier conference, I think outweighs someone like everyone made the comment about Monmouth. They didn't get in. Monmouth knows every year they got to win their tournament to get to the tournament. That's the game. That's how they make the NCAA tournament. It's not. It's the way the system is set up is that the competition is much better in the power conferences. That's just the way it is. Monmouth didn't make the tournament. Everyone says, "Oh, they should have" because they had a great record. But when you compare them, it's just like the college football. When you're comparing wins and losses, you're comparing the resumes. Michigan's resume, I'm sorry, was better. Their wins may have been better than Monmouth, however you say it. Like Michigan did go and beat Purdue. They beat Indiana. They beat and they went deep into their conference tournament. Monmouth got bounced, I think, in the semifinals or the quarters. I don't even think they may have lost in their championship. I don't really follow that particular conference, but I know they didn't win it because they didn't show up in the tournament, and that's the problem. Is that, you know, if you're a team that got left out and you're a mid-major, and you don't win your conference tournament, you shouldn't be shocked and appalled that you didn't make the NCAA tournament.
And I think that's one thing I've seen a little bit more of is the mid-majors. They do schedule, you know, an NCAA basketball on the men's side. The mid-majors will go out and play, you know, some of the big conferences. I know, you know,
Well, they
bowling.
have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that goes on their resume. You know, if it's a close loss, that's, you know, not terrible. But if they can go in and win, obviously, you know, that might even prevail over one of the schools that's a bigger school, but you have a 500 record. But you have to get those wins, and if they're not impressed, then obviously you're not going to get in. And I think that's with the MAC schools. You know, they only get one team, and it's always tough for them. You know, if they're not going to go out and beat the bigger teams from the bigger conferences, if they're going to lose those games, they're going to have a tough time getting in if they don't win their conference.
And I think this year they talked a lot about parity, about how even these mid-major teams and the power conference teams were close enough talent-wise that teams could beat. But I think this was the one year, or one of the years, that you could say that a mid-major had every right to feel left out, because there's not like that, you know, like in past years it's been Kentucky, who's just heads and shoulders above everybody, and then there's everybody else. Like this year, there's not really been that. I mean, UNC kind of and Kansas kind of came on at the end, but you could make the argument that, you know, Xavier was one of the top teams in the country. I mean, they were 5 going into their tournament. Now, them losing their conference tournament didn't help them. I mean, that's the problem. But again, you saw they went from possible 1 seed now to a 2 seed, and they got bounced by a Wisconsin team that, you know, they shouldn't have lost that game.
Agreed.
But they did.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that there's this year alone has just been so close with these teams that argument has more. I guess your argument about the mid majors has a little bit more weight this year as opposed to years past, because there's not that super team or that really dominant team. Like Duke's even considered a down year this year, and they won the championship last year. And that's the problem, is that, like, it's just gotten so competitive in basketball because they've maybe reduced scholarships, things like that. So, but it's been fun to watch, and I'm glad I'm about to win this thing.
Well, we'll wait
You
and see.
think?
You know what? Sean might have just put a jinx on anybody that wants the Tar Heels to win it.
I wanted Notre Dame to win. I was ready to
Oh,
blow
I'm
up my
sure.
bracket, and I was, you know.
I'm sure that had to be pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
But let's now move into Cleveland Cavaliers basketball, which
Casball.
you know you've heard pretty much in the Cleveland media.
Panic
and on
mode.
Yeah, everybody, man. You know, everybody forgets we still are in first place in the East, and the playoffs have not started yet. Yeah, you know, you see the Cavs. You know, last night they had a big lead, they blew it. You know, that's going to happen. You know, it stinks, and hopefully they can learn from it. But what are your guys' thoughts so far as this team has had, you know, kind of a roller coaster ride, I would say, this year, you know, with the players, you know, not getting along. It seems like the media's making out the players don't get along. LeBron, you know, if they don't win, might want to go back to Miami. I mean, there's just so much drama being talked about. I don't know how they come up with this stuff. But, you know, what are your guys' thoughts on this team so far this year?
Well, I would have to admit that watching the Cavs team has been very annoying at times, seeing their lack of defensive
Hustle.
just basic fundamentals on the defensive end have disappeared, it seems. Now, I will have to say, admittedly, a lot of it is the annoyance and the frustration is greater this year because of the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs, how great they are playing. I mean, you are probably looking at 2 of the best teams ever in the NBA this year, Golden State and San Antonio. And then, you know, when you're on, like, watching SportsCenter or anything like that, you're seeing all the positives about Golden State and San Antonio. And then when they go to the Cavs, who any other year, if Golden State and San Antonio is not having this historic of a season, the Cavs would be right up there having a very fine season. And I think some of that negativity won't be as predominant. But since it is the case, a lot of that stuff's going to be sent to the forefront. and this is what you're going to have. A lot of drama with this team, a lot of negativity. But I will have to say a lot of it could be dispelled by one guy, and that's LeBron James. Everyone talked about the cryptic tweets, his little shenanigans with Dwayne Wade after the team got blown out in Miami, the little hoo-hoo dilly cha-cha, whatever he was doing with Dwayne Wade. And then
Did you actually hear that? There was a video of him and Dwayne Wade.
That was last year at Christmas.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
See, they failed. I didn't see that. I
gotta read the facts. Don't get hooked, Rob. You got hooked by fake Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what?
Man.
I was the first to report RG3 here in Cleveland, and I want it to be known.
Oh, man,
First off, wait a minute. When
fake
you
Ian
did that,
Rappaport is lot more entertaining than real Ian
Yeah.
Rappaport.
First off, that was a parody account, and now you just lucked into it. So don't
Do you know
act
what?
like
Thanks. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I was the first to report that. Thank you very much.
oh god.
Now I forgot where I was going with this.
Yeah, way to go, Rob.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, but all that kind of stuff, and now you're having just other things with like Kyrie and off the court issues with him and his ex-girlfriend or whatever, and then you're having Kevin Love, and that's another thing. The guys aren't playing very well. I mean, you got Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Iman Shumpert. They're having their career worst in shooting, especially three-point shooting.
But LeBron has come to play.
Lately, he has come, and
Since he said, it's playoff mode, he has, brought back triple-doubles and have almost probably averages 30 points and 10 rebounds,
and that's
10
where
assists a
it
game.
comes back to, like the game against the Rockets. It is towards the end of the season. We're just trying to get to the playoffs. Is it right? Probably not. I mean, you want to go out there and win every game, and that's what they tell you that they're going to do. But let's be honest, they're ready to get to the playoffs. They want to get to it. And this NBA season is so dang long. Playoffs don't start for, another 2 weeks?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's
even then, there's like a 5-day break between Game 1 and Game 2 of the first round of the Eastern Conference.
That's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. So, I don't know. It has been a terribly frustrating long season. I think, the players are some to blame. Front office is some to blame. Firing the coach. When you fire a coach in the middle of the season, not always the best thing. And the team has not necessarily improved either.
And they don't have the amount of games played under Coach Lou than Blatt. But obviously right now Coach Lou doesn't have as good of winning percentage as Coach Blatt. But, I agree with you, Josh. It's been kind of crazy, but, we're still not in the playoffs. And, you'd like to see them get in a habit of playing hard all the time and, versus teams that might not have a good record. You'd like to see the pure dominance, which it can be tough, when you play, I guess, softer teams, as they say, giving a full effort and letting teams, maybe get you. But Cavs are still 2.5 games up on Toronto. It's pretty much going to come down to Cleveland and Toronto for that 1 and 2 spot. It looks like.
Does it really matter though? Who gets 1 or 2? I mean, honestly, let's.
No.
It doesn't. It
didn't
doesn't
matter last year. That's for damn sure.
Last year Atlanta was having the season of dreams for them, and everyone said, "Oh, I don't know if they're a matchup nightmare." What happened? Cavs swept them without Kevin Love. I really look at this team and I say, they're trying to not make this mistake of last year where
they ran out of juice.
But they got
hurt.
But they were playing hard. Like, I'm not saying they're not playing hard, but they were giving an exceptional amount of effort towards the end of the season, and that has its risks and its rewards. One, it exposes you to possible injuries. Number two, it can wear down some of the older people, LeBron, and also they look at the rotation. I mean, they're 10 deep.
What rotation?
But I'm saying they have 10 players this year that
Right.
can conceivably play. I mean, Coach Lou is out there saying, okay, I have 1 and 2 platoons, and it's not like last year where, oh God, if Dellavedova's in there, well, he plays great defense, but he can't play much offense. He's really stepped up his offensive game this year. We got Channing Frye who's a spot-up shooter. That takes a little bit of pressure off of the regular spot-up shooters and Kevin Love and possibly J.R. Smith, although to this day, J.R. Smith will take up a contested three-point shot for no reason at all. Obviously Kyrie dribbles too much. Well, yeah, if he does what he's supposed to do, drive the lane and then kick it out, those spot-up shooters are going to be able to hit better. I mean, I actually feel more confident right now going into the playoffs than I did last year because I thought Kyrie's always hurt, and what happened? He got dinged up, and then he broke his kneecap before the finals. Kevin Love got his shoulder pulled out by Kelly Olynyk from Boston, who I hope we meet because I really want to beat that guy.
Could be second-round matchup.
Yeah, I
Could
mean,
be.
I think what we're seeing right now is the final tinkering of a coaching staff saying, hey, who plays well with who? I need to know this because when I get into a playoff situation, when it's game 4 or it's game 3 or we need to take this, I need to be able to say, if I'm in foul trouble, can I put Channing Frye in for a good number of minutes and take some of the pressure off of, a Kevin Love or a Tristan Thompson or whatever? Like, I really do think that this is all kind of labbing, for lack of a better word, just seeing what's going to happen. I know everyone says we shouldn't be doing that. We should have a rotation set. But I kind of like it because guess what? Cleveland's a wild card right now. No one knows how they're going to play.
That's true.
They may play well, and for all we know, this could be a complete troll job. They could just be playing crappy when they want to play, and Tyronn Lue saying, "Look, go out there, play good defense." But they've got a playoff spot locked up. It's not in question. I mean,
I think for this instance, though, I think it is important for the Cavs to get the number 1 seed and home court advantage throughout the playoffs because, during this season, I've heard people talk about during the season you develop habits that go into the postseason. And the Cavs have struggled in Toronto this year. Toronto's got a talented team, and that's why they've won 49 games this year. I would much rather have, if it does come down to the Eastern Conference Finals with Cleveland and Toronto, I'd like to have, if necessary, if it's needed, that Game 7 to be in Cleveland rather than Toronto because, quite frankly, I just don't trust this Cavaliers team right now because they haven't showed me throughout this whole season, any level of consistent play. And it all I don't know who's to blame. I guess it's a whole kind of a team/coaching probably put the blame there. But there's people on the team where there's no defined roles. Like, if you ask me, our best lineup is having Dellavedova at the point guard, Kyrie Irving at the shooting guard, J.R. Smith at the small forward, LeBron at the 4, and then you would have Tristan Thompson at the 5. Or put Kevin Love at the 5 and let him get the ball in the post, but they don't do that. when they do it.
Do it.
Sorry.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I set it up for you.
I was waiting the whole time.
Tee it high, let it fly, my friend. But when they do post up Kevin Love, it does work on occasion, and he is able to get down there. But a lot of times he struggles. He's not strong enough with the ball, and then he gets knocked over. And then, again, I go back to it. The guys are not shooting the ball. Well, this is supposed to be a three-point shooting team, and they're not shooting the ball very well.
43-pointers the other night.
Yeah, how many did they make?
Not many.
Yeah.
That's why they lost versus Houston.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, too. I mean,
the voice of reason, Ed Dick.
Like you said, what the Warriors and the Spurs are doing is nothing short of amazing. The thing they do have in common, though, is that those are teams that have been together for a while.
Yeah, 3 years at least.
At least 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, San Antonio's they're San Antonio.
They've been
They've
together
been
since
since
1975.
exactly. And the Warriors have their core guys have come into their own together. I mean, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, they've all been together for at least 4 years by now. Right now, the Cavs are still somewhat of a patchwork job, and especially the last 2 years, they've made pretty significant trades to move some players in and out, and not to mention a coaching change. If you want to ask about stability, the Cavs don't have it right now from that perspective. However, they do have the best player in the game, and
Who's healthy.
And I still stand by that because you can't tell me otherwise, regardless of what Steph Curry's doing.
Steph Curry's having an amazing season, and he had an amazing season last year. He's a great shooter, but we all saw what happened against a couple games against the Spurs and a couple games against
the L.A. Lakers dominated him.
If he's a pure natural shooter, the guy will shoot from anywhere on the floor. But if it's not falling, like you mentioned, I want to go back to what you said, Josh, was they're not shooting the ball well. How much of streaking is the shooting? You know what I mean? Like it feels like some games they're on, they can't miss. Other games they can't. I mean, isn't that just the nature of basketball? Isn't that just the? I mean,
Well,
and I saw it last night. They got open shots that just weren't falling. I mean, sometimes it's just not falling, and it happens for Steph Curry. But I agree with you, Ed. We have the best player all around in the NBA right now, and that's LeBron James.
Exactly.
I mean,
and him going into a series with a full complement of roster players, which it looks like he's going to have this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously not going to lose in the East. I think some teams will give them a run. I think they'll get a scare put into them. I think a team will end up winning a couple of games. I'm not sure they'll be in the same situation that they were in against the Bulls, where they were down 2-1 in Game 4 away. I don't think they'll get to that point.
And I don't think the Toronto Raptors are that big of a threat in the East, to be honest with you.
Well, exactly. And you also have to remember, the Warriors and the Spurs are probably going to end up having to duke it out with each other before the finals.
Yeah.
So, as good as those two teams are, they have to play each other 2 more times in the regular season, and then probably another 7 times in the playoffs. I mean, that's going to take so much out of them. And you know what? If it gets to the point where the Cavs do win this and Golden State has to play the card of, oh, we had to play the Spurs, we had to play the Clippers, we had to play the Thunder, no sympathy from us, seeing as that they beat us with 1/3 of our big 3 last year, and Matthew Dellavedova is our second best player in the championship.
And they went to 6 games for that too.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I agree with Josh. I think the Cavs, nobody would be worrying so much about it if the Spurs and Warriors weren't having amazing years. I mean, give credit where credit is due.
Cavs are on pace to win over 60 games this year. I mean, that's more than last year. And they got to the finals last year. Everybody calm down.
And we're still number 1.
Enjoy the ride. We still have 2 more months.
That's right. All right, we're Sports on Tap. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Cleveland Browns football. We haven't touched on them in a little while. We'll talk about them coming up right on the show. We're Sports on Tap, live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley, Ohio.
Join Sports on Tap the first Thursday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, as Sports on Tap talks local Ohio high school sports, Cleveland sports, and national sports topics. It's all happening at Z's Cream and Bean the first Thursday of every month starting at 7:30 p.m. Join us.
For the best coverage of Cavs, Indians, and Browns, check out NEOSportsInsiders.com. NEOSportsInsiders.com brings you breaking news, opinions, and video from all things related to your favorite Cleveland sports teams. Like us on Facebook and follow at NEOSportsInsiders on Twitter for live updates from all the games. NEOSportsInsiders.com, bringing you the best in Northeast Ohio sports coverage.
Join Sports